Part 1. Your calm is a weapon they'll never understand. They'll never understand how you stay so composed. They'll mistake your silence for weakness. They'll push, provoke, and test every boundary you've set. And they'll wait for the explosion they assume is inevitable. But it never comes. And that's when you win. Because in a world addicted to reaction, calm is rebellion. Everyone else is burning to prove something. Status, dominance, attention. You stand still. You breathe. You watch. And while the world acts, you see. You read patterns, motives, fears, and opportunities. Power doesn't always announce itself. Often, it sits quietly in the mind of the unmoved. This is the first secret most men and women never learn. Presence is more persuasive than persuasion. Silence speaks. Composure commands. Pause holds more influence than words shouted into chaos. The person who reacts is predictable. The person who does not is unknowable, and that uncertainty breeds respect, intrigue, and attention. Calm is not passivity. It is mastery. It is the ability to sit with chaos, observe it without surrendering to it, and act when timing favors you. Scientists call it emotional regulation, the ability to control your internal state under pressure. But it's not a cold, clinical term. It's the difference between being owned by circumstance and owning yourself. Look at any field where stakes are high. CEOs negotiating hostile mergers, generals commanding troops in battle, elite athletes performing under pressure. The outlier, the one who performs consistently, is rarely the loudest. It's the one whose mind is anchored, whose pulse remains measured, whose focus does not scatter with emotion. Calm is the signal of competence, unconsciously read, widely respected. Even relationships obey this law. In moments of conflict, the one who reacts first often loses. The one who waits, measures, and responds from clarity shapes outcomes. Think about it. How many arguments escalate because someone cannot pause? How many negotiations collapse because one person's ego demanded an immediate reaction? Your calm doesn't just preserve your energy, it reshapes the field. Studies in neuroscience confirm it. The prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thought and self-control, shuts down under acute stress for most people. Fear, anger, and anxiety hijack decision-making. But those who have trained emotional control maintain functionality. They see options where others see traps. They act with intention while others flail. And when action finally comes, it lands with precision. That's power. This isn't natural for most. The brain is wired for reaction. Instinct tells you to yell, to flee, to strike back. But instinct is a tool, not a master. Your job is to turn instinct into information. Every spike of anger, every rush of desire, every twinge of fear is data, a clue to what matters, what is threatened, and where you hold leverage. When you master it, your calm becomes a weapon. It works in subtle ways. In conversation, a measured pause gives you authority. Lowering your voice slightly draws attention. Maintaining eye contact longer than expected creates tension that others fill with their own thoughts. The room, unconsciously, begins to adjust to your rhythm. People reveal themselves to the calm. They show weakness, uncertainty, or desire. You don't force it. You simply observe. And observation is always the first step to mastery. Your calm also protects you. Emotional storms are contagious. Anger spreads faster than logic. Anxiety amplifies like wildfire. By remaining steady, you act as an anchor. Others may try to destabilize you, but their efforts bounce off the fortress of your presence. And in protecting yourself, you also project competence. People follow composure, not chaos. The most overlooked advantage of calm is anticipation. When everyone else reacts immediately, patterns blur. You notice the subtleties, the hesitation, the overreach, the misalignment between words and intent. That knowledge allows you to act strategically, not impulsively. And strategy beats reaction every time. This week, test it. Notice one interaction where your instinct is to react. A frustrating email, a critical comment, a tense argument. Pause. Breathe. Observe. Record internally what happens when you do not act immediately. You will see influence shift. You will feel control increase. This is not about suppressing emotion, it's about harnessing it. Another test. Slow your speech in conversation by a fraction. Maintain a calm, measured tone even when provoked. Watch the room respond. Watch how people lean in, adjust, reveal themselves. The world notices steady minds before loud voices. And those who understand this rarely challenge it. Your calm is invisible, but it is heavier than any weapon they can wield against you. It cannot be copied. It cannot be stolen. And those who underestimate it will always misunderstand it. The world rewards chaos, but it respects calm. It fears calm. It follows calm. Your silence, your patience, your measured restraint, they are not weaknesses. They are your quiet empire, your leverage, your shield, and your sword. And once you grasp this, you realize your calm is not just a tool. It is power. And power, when wielded with intention, is freedom. Part 2. The discipline behind the calm. Calm doesn't happen by accident. It isn't a trait you are born with. It is forged, slowly, deliberately, through discipline. Every choice you make builds it or destroys it. Every delayed reaction, every measured word, every moment of self-restraint lays a brick in the foundation of your internal empire. Neglected, and chaos creeps in unnoticed. Allow it to grow, and the world begins to bend around your presence. Discipline starts with awareness. You must know what provokes you before you can control it. The phone buzzing in the middle of focus. The colleague who tests your patience. The partner who knows just the right word to hit your ego. These are all signals, triggers, and each contains valuable data. Observe, don't act. Catalog, learn. Neuroscience shows that your brain's response to stress is trainable. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought, planning, and self-control, strengthens through repeated restraint. Mindfulness, measured breathing, even brief meditation sessions enhance the brain's ability to delay impulsive reactions. Discipline is the physical architecture of calm. Each habit you create is a reinforcement of your fortress. But discipline is not mechanical. It is strategic. It is understanding that every impulse has an opportunity cost. Anger released too quickly yields temporary satisfaction, but long-term disadvantage. Impatience satisfied immediately leads to mistakes. Gratification delayed, emotion measured, reactions considered. These are the weapons of the patient, the wise, the powerful. Even in relationships, the disciplined calm is decisive. Consider a heated argument. The reactive person shouts, justifies, attacks, regrets. The disciplined person pauses, frames, listens, and responds with precision. The first moment feels satisfying. The second wins influence. Calm does not suppress strength, it magnifies it. Discipline also builds presence. Presence is more than showing up. It is the signal that your mind is steady, your priorities intact, your focus unshakable. In professional studies, leaders who maintain composure under pressure are rated consistently higher in influence, trustworthiness, and effectiveness. Calm is contagious. Others adjust unconsciously to it. Your stability becomes the anchor for chaos around you. There is another layer. Discipline strengthens perception. When you are calm, you notice subtleties that others miss. Microexpressions, fleeting hesitations, the hidden meaning behind words. This allows you to respond strategically rather than impulsively. Influence grows not from intimidation, but from insight. People reveal themselves to calm, and your discipline turns observation into understanding, understanding into leverage, leverage into silent authority. Here's a practical method. Observe one situation each day where your instinct is to react immediately. Frustration at traffic, a cutting remark, a sudden demand. Instead of reacting, take 3 deliberate breaths. Hold your posture. Speak only after processing. Notice the effect. Notice the shift in energy, tone, or behavior around you. Record internally what you feel, what you notice. This small discipline compounds. It strengthens not just calm, but perception, timing, and presence. Another exercise, structure your environment to reinforce calm. Remove distractions that hijack attention. Schedule periods of silence. Reduce interruptions. Even small daily victories, choosing to read rather than scroll, choosing to observe rather than respond, accumulate. Discipline is cumulative. It is the invisible scaffolding of power. Discipline also protects your inner narrative. Chaos around you may attempt to provoke, derail, or destabilize. Without disciplined calm, these attempts succeed. With it, they fail silently. The storm rages. You remain grounded. Others may not understand your restraint, They may mock your patience, but in time, the results speak for themselves. The calm, disciplined person moves with precision while others flail in reaction. Your calm is a weapon. Discipline is the forge. Each day you choose restraint, awareness, and measured action, you strengthen it. Each moment you let impulse dominate, you weaken it. The battlefield is everywhere: work, relationships, social spaces, even your own mind. The disciplined calm does not dominate through force, but through presence, anticipation, and unshakable clarity. Most will never notice. They will continue to act, to flail, to react. But you, anchored, patient, disciplined, will move through their chaos like water through stone. You will see everything. You will act decisively. And those who thought they held sway will realize, too late, that the currents were always yours to command. Your calm is your insight. Your discipline sharpens it. Together, they make influence invisible but undeniable. Every interaction becomes a map, every silence a tool, every pause an opportunity. Master the currents. Let the storm rage, and let your presence shape outcomes they will never understand. Part 4. The Weapon of Patience. Turning stillness into strategic action. Patience is a weapon few understand. It is not passivity. It is not waiting for life to happen. It is deliberate, calculated, and silent. The impatient rush. They expose themselves. They burn their leverage. They react, and in doing so, surrender control. Patience, when mastered, transforms stillness into dominance. The calm mind is only part of the equation. Without patience, calm can become static, ineffective, inert. True power lies in the ability to observe, endure, and act at the precise moment that maximizes impact. Timing is the silent amplifier of influence. Those who act too early waste potential. Those who act too late miss opportunity. Patience bridges instinct and strategy. Look to history. Every decisive victory, every empire maintained, every negotiation won. They share a common thread: measured action. Napoleon did not charge the battlefield indiscriminately. He waited, observed, and struck at the exact point of weakness. Sun Tzu wrote, "He who knows when he can fight and when he cannot will be victorious." The lesson is timeless. Restraint is power, timing is strategy. Modern life demands the same principle. Social interactions, workplace dynamics, negotiations, even personal growth, impatience signals weakness. Consider communication. The person who interrupts, who pushes too hard, who replies immediately, they reveal vulnerability, attachment, or need. The patient person, by contrast, shapes outcomes with precision. Silence becomes a signal. Delay becomes influence. People adjust to your pace. They reveal themselves in response to your restraint. Patience also protects. Emotional storms are inevitable. Provocation is constant. Without the shield of stillness, even small disturbances can unravel focus, judgment, and composure. Patience acts as a buffer, a filter, a lens that transforms chaos into clarity. The world will push. The world will test. Your response will determine whether it controls you or bends to your rhythm. The neuroscience supports this. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for judgment and foresight, strengthens with practice in delayed response. Each act of measured patience reinforces neural pathways that favor strategic thought over reactive emotion. Self-control becomes automatic. Reaction slows. Insight increases. You begin to notice patterns that others cannot see. Opportunity becomes visible where chaos once reigned. Patience is also magnetic. People sense it. They lean into it. They calibrate themselves unconsciously to match your tempo. In relationships, this is invaluable. The reactive partner escalates tension, pursues gratification, or demands resolution. The patient partner observes, adjusts, and acts in alignment with long-term goals. Influence is achieved not through force, but through the silent gravity of measured action. How to practice? Identify one interaction this week where your instinct is to respond immediately. A tense email, a heated message, a personal disagreement. Pause. Breathe. Wait. Observe the unfolding dynamic before acting. The world rarely collapses in the absence of your immediate reaction. Extend observation to multiple areas: meetings, conversations, even social media. Know where you feel compelled to act quickly. Hold yourself. Deliberately delay, measure, and then respond. Notice how influence and clarity grow. Patience sharpens decision-making. It amplifies presence. It converts calm observation into tangible advantage. Each moment you wait intentionally is a moment where others overextend, reveal vulnerability, or miscalculate. Every pause is a strike you do not need to make. Consider the subtle victories: the colleague who overreaches while you wait, the conversation that escalates while you remain steady, the opportunity missed by someone too impatient to see it through. These moments accumulate. They shift perception. They redefine influence. And all of it stems from one simple principle: restraint amplified by timing. Patience is invisible to those who cannot wield it. They interpret waiting as indecision, silence as passivity. But those who understand it, those who combine patience with calm, observation, and discipline, know differently. Waiting is power. Timing is leverage. Stillness is strategy. Your calm is the foundation. Your discipline is the structure. Patience is the weapon that converts presence into action. And when you finally strike, it is not desperation that drives you. It is precision. It is inevitability. It is strategy executed flawlessly. This week, embed patience deliberately into one key interaction. Observe the subtle shifts. Notice how influence builds without force. Each delay, each pause, each carefully measured choice compounds, turning quiet restraint into undeniable power. Calm prepares. Discipline sustains. Patience executes. Together, they transform stillness into strategy. And strategy, in turn, shapes the world in ways others cannot comprehend, cannot predict, and will never truly understand. Part 5. Influence without force. Mastering the silent currents. True power is invisible. It does not roar. It does not demand attention. It moves silently, like a current beneath a stormy sea. Those who mistake chaos for power never see it. Those who chase noise never touch it. Influence without force is the rarest mastery, the culmination of calm, discipline, observation, and patience. And it is available to anyone willing to wield it deliberately. The world is loud. People shout to be seen, to assert, to convince. Social media, offices, relationships. Everyone acts out of impulse, ego, or fear. But the silent mind watches. It reads the currents that others cannot perceive. It notices patterns, hesitations, the invisible push and pull of desire, attention, and fear. That is influence. It requires no shouting, no coercion, no domination. Just awareness. Just timing. Just presence. Consider the social dynamic. When one person reacts with immediacy, anger, anxiety, or excitement, everyone else responds to that reaction. They are pulled into the orbit of the loud, the impulsive, the overt. But when someone remains steady, calm, and measured, they shift the environment subtly. People adjust. They reveal information. They commit, defer, or overextend. Influence arises naturally, imperceptibly, and powerfully. Psychology explains it. Humans unconsciously mirror emotional states. Calm minds induce calm. Measured presence induces respect. The nervous system of others aligns with your tempo, even when they resist consciously. This is not manipulation. It is biology. It is natural influence. The silent, controlled individual becomes the anchor in every storm. Those around them bend without realizing it. That is authority. That is power. Influence without force is also the art of timing. It is the patience to wait until the moment is ripe and the courage to act decisively when it arrives. React too early, and your power dissipates. React too late, and opportunity escapes. Observe, anticipate, and act with precision. Every calculated move compounds the effect of your stillness. The currents you sense quietly shift the behavior of everyone in your sphere long before you make a single overt gesture. Even relationships follow this principle. Most conflicts escalate because someone reacts immediately to insult, criticism, or perceived threat. The calm, patient partner observes, waits, and responds with clarity, framing the narrative subtly. They guide outcomes not with aggression, but with presence. They influence not by force, but by the gravitational pull of their composure. Others comply naturally, unconsciously, because they sense mastery. Modern life is full of distractions, provocations, and false urgencies. Emails demand immediate replies, social media screams for attention, colleagues push for reaction. Every impulsive response erodes your internal authority. Every deliberate pause, every careful choice, every silent observation reinforces it. Influence accumulates quietly, invisibly, but exponentially. One moment of restraint compounds into hours, days, and weeks of advantage. Exercise this week. Identify one situation where you normally feel compelled to act or react immediately. Step back. Observe the dynamics. Wait until clarity emerges. Then act deliberately. Record the difference in how people respond and the outcome shifts. Expand this practice to multiple domains: professional, personal, digital. Notice how your calm, disciplined patience begins to recalibrate the environment around you. Here's the ultimate lesson. Force is temporary. Noise is forgotten. Volume fades. True influence, influence that shapes decisions, perceptions, and outcomes, is invisible. It flows silently through networks, relationships, and spaces. It is amplified by calm, sustained by discipline, executed with patience, and perfected by observation. Those who wield it need never demand attention. Attention seeks them out. The world will continue to reward reaction and noise. People will continue to flail, compete, and overshare. But you, anchored in calm, fortified by discipline, sharpened by observation, and guided by patience, will operate on a higher plane. You will see what others miss, act when they stumble, and guide outcomes without them ever realizing it. Influence without